Speaker this evening will be Vincent with a speech titled Like and Dislike of a Child Behavior. Like and dislike of a child's behavior.
Vincent is doing Project 5, whose title is Your Body Speaks. The objectives of Project 5 are to use stance, movement, gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact to express your message and achieve your speech's purpose. Make your body language smooth and natural. Vincent Okafor, Your Body Speaks.
Like and dislike of a child behavior. Vincent.
Christine Okafor. She's my daughter. She's a little girl, full of fun, very playful, always happy, but sometimes can be very irritative, annoying. She is 3.5 years old. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Madam President, Status Master. As a dad of a little child of 3.5 years old, I love my daughter. But sometimes it can be very annoying to have that type of a child in the house. But nevertheless, whenever I come back home at work, she's always back from the school before me. She knows when I knock on the door or when I put my key to open the door. She ran to the door. Daddy, 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 daddy. Hello, my girl. How are you? I'm fine. How is school? I'm fine. I walk. Daddy, did you buy anything for me? I pretend like I hear nothing. I walk. Daddy, did you buy anything for me? Oh, I forgot. Don't worry, tomorrow I'm gonna get something nice for you. Oh no, you're not my friend anymore. Say why? I'm your dad. No, because you didn't buy anything for me. I said, okay, don't worry. Tomorrow, I'm gonna get something very nice for you. I go, I sit on my lounge, put on TV to listen to the news. She comes, sit next to me. I kept quiet. She look at TV, and it's not her channel. Daddy, I want my channel. Girl, I'm listening to the news. I want my channel. You know, with command. At that point, I don't know what to do. I said, okay, fine. Put on her channel. I walk upstairs to my bedroom. Put on the TV again, the news to listen to news. After a few seconds, here she comes again. Walk upstairs to my bedroom. On the door. Who is that? It's me. Who? Christine. I open the door. She come in. Busy watching my news, listening to the news. She goes, she get on top of my bed, and she start jumping, like a jumping castle, start throwing herself, hey, 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 hey! I kept quiet, I ignore her. This is just to distract me from listening to news. She goes again, jump, 1, 2, hey! threw herself again on the bed. Christine, you're making noise. I'm listening to the news. Keep quiet. She goes again, she jumped to her, threw herself again on the bed. Hey, I said, okay. Now, at that point, I don't know what to do because I'm so much interested to listen to news. I said, okay, fine. Christine, your mom is calling you. She says you must come and get chocolate. Huh? Yes, mom said you must come and get chocolate. She ran to her mom's room. She runs to her mom's room. I thought I've already discharged her. After a few minutes, she comes back again to my room, crying. Why are you crying, Christine? No, mommy doesn't want to give me chocolate. Mommy said she's got no chocolate. I said, don't worry. Tomorrow, I'm gonna buy you something good. She sits again on the bed, on my bed again. I'm busy listening to the news. Daddy, can I have my channel? Oh, at this point, I don't know what to say to her again. I just kept quiet, I ignored her again. Daddy, can I have my channel? I kept quiet, I didn't say anything again. Hey! She started crying. At that stage, either I pay attention to her, or I switch off the TV, or I give her her channel. This is my bedroom now. I don't know where else to go. So I said, okay, here is your channel. Put on the channel again. She sat there watching TV. I went to her mom's bedroom. Hello, how are you? Now I start making conversation with her mother. Here she comes again. Wow. When she comes, as I'm talking to her mother, she wants to be in the middle. And I'm sitting in the bed with her mom or sitting in the chair. She wants to be in the middle, just to distract our conversation. Likes and dislikes of a child's behavior. Mr. President.
Next speaker doing her project 5 in the ACB manual and is evaluated by Monday. Kindly give us the objectives for Helen Green's speech.
For the benefit of the guests and visitors, the ACB is for Advanced Communicator Bronze. What happens after a speaker is completed the 10 assignment, that is the 1 to 10 days project. Then they go to another level which is called Advanced Speaker. The manual that Helen is working on is called the Professional Speaker, so it's advanced. I'm just going to read the whole executive summary and then the objectives. A motivational speaker's purpose is to supply listeners with the impetus to achieve a goal, appeal to the audience's beliefs and values through dramatization, vibrant stories, and enthusiasm, give them an incentive and persuade them to embrace your message. The objectives are: understand the concept and nature of motivational speaking, apply a 4-step motivational method with the purpose of persuading and inspiring, deliver a motivational speech to persuade an audience to emotionally commit to an action. Helen's speech is titled Plenty More Fish in the Sea, and the speech time is 15 to 20 minutes.
Thank you.
There are 6 billion people on our planet. Of these 6 billion, 1/3, 2 billion people rely on the ocean for their daily source of protein, fish. But if current fishing trends continue, it's estimated by scientists that in 50 years' time, there will be no more fish left in the sea. So I'm here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, to persuade you that even if you do not like fish, and even if you're not that interested in this topic, The way I see it is this. Someday I would like to have children, and I would like my children to have the option of eating fish if they wish. And I would like my children's children to also have that option. I do not want to be telling my children how we used to eat fish, and how it was really tasty, and how it was delicious, and how it's now extinct. I want my children to be able to experience that if they so wish. So I can give you an example of bluefin tuna. I'm sure some of you are aware of bluefin tuna. It's gravely endangered. There's only 4% of its stocks remaining. So that means that 96% of its potential stocks have declined due to overfishing and overconsumption. And the problem is 90% of those caught and eaten are young fish that have never had the opportunity to reproduce. So why? What's causing this? Well, 80% of bluefin tuna ends up in Japan, and it's a delicacy there, and the popular demand of sushi and sashimi means that it's in absolutely high demand. It's $1 billion industry, and recently a bluefin tuna went for $1.5 million US. And so you can see what we're up against here. We have cultures, we have politics, and then we have people trying to conserve. Another example, shark fin soup. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen shark fin soup. It's basically a Chinese delicacy whereby the fin creates the texture in the soup, but it doesn't create any flavor. Flavor comes from the other ingredients. It's a Chinese delicacy. It's only eaten at very special occasions, weddings and banquets, and it's incredibly expensive. But the problem with shark fin soup is it requires a shark's fin in the soup. And so what happens is, as you can see from this picture, the sharks are caught, their fins are chopped off, and then the sharks are thrown back in the sea. But a shark doesn't survive without his fin, and so the shark dies. And so it's a travesty. Whether or not you like sharks or you don't, the problem is sharks are becoming gravely endangered. And I went to a Chinese restaurant there in Rivonia, and shark fin soup was on the menu. It's banned in a lot of European countries, but it's obviously not banned here. Well, it was on the menu anyway. So, what can you do? Well, if you would like your children to experience sharks in their lifetime, then we have to take a step. We have to do something. There has to be something that you can do. If you're not really bothered, that's fine, but think about your children and your grandchildren and your grandchildren's children. Think about them and just think ahead and allow them to have the option of liking or not liking seafood. And so fishing methods. I want to talk to you about fishing methods because that's one of the main problems. The first method I want to talk to you about is called purse seining. And as you can see from the picture, it involves these absolutely enormous nets of up to 23,000 meters squared. That's the size of 4 football fields. And they just absolutely engulf a huge area of the ocean. Now, as you can see, the problem with this is it just takes a whole shoal of fish. And it disregards whether it's young fish or old fish. And also there's a massive amount of bycatch involved in this method of fishing. So what I mean by that is endangered sea turtles, dolphins, all sorts of animals that are not fit for human consumption, but they get caught up in this anyway, and because the nets are dragged along for so long, these animals that need to breathe, they will die. It's estimated that up to 3,000 dolphins a year die as a result of just being caught by catch. The second horrific method that is used is called dredging. So I'm guessing some of you have been scuba diving here, right? Yeah? Well, I've been scuba diving and I've seen the beauty of the ocean floor. I've seen the flora and the fauna. Yeah, I guess you'd call fish fauna. So I've seen the coral reefs, I've seen the beauty, I've seen the ecosystem, I've seen how it works. And you can imagine this scraping of the ocean floor. You can imagine the devastation that caused. Literally, these dredges are scraped along the floor to get what they can. And they're enormous. And they have massive amounts of bycatch as well. So, what is the most sustainable way of fishing? It's pole and line fishing. And so, when you go and buy your tuna, your canned tuna even, just check on the back. Was it pole and line caught or was it not? Because your decision can make a difference. It absolutely can make a difference. So these are things to check out for. This is the MSC, the Marine Stewardship Council. If their logo is on the fish that you're eating, that means it's good. That means it's really good. The Marine Stewardship Council, oh, that's the same logo. And then check the Greenpeace website, because they're on top of it. They know exactly what's sustainable fish to eat, what's not, and they can give you a whole list of stuff. You know, some species of fish are also endangered, and they will tell you the methods of fishing that are okay and are not okay, and also the fish that you should eat that are okay and not okay. So what about fish farms? Seems to me like fish farms could be a good solution. Well, already in the world, 47% of fish caught is from farms. The problem with fish farms is a lot of them cause more harm than they do good. And there's two reasons for that. The first reason is that most fish on these fish farms are fed very small pelagic matter. It's like tiny little fish, and that's what they feed on. Now these fish are not farmed, they're taken from the ocean. So it takes 5 kilograms of this small fish feed, these tiny fish, to feed 1 kilo of farmed salmon, for example. And so you can imagine how much of this small fish has to be taken from the ocean, thus disrupting the natural ecosystem. And the second problem with fish farms is the pollution that some of them cause, and that just goes straight back into the sea. The good news is, there are organic fish farms, and so if it has the Soil Association, which is the organic standard, then you know it's fine. And also the RSPCA monitored Freedom Food, and I'm sure there's a South African equivalent. So this applies to any farmed animal, so chickens or eggs or anything from a farm, including fish. And if they've got the RSPCA stamp of approval, that means the animals had a good life, they were treated well, and there is limited pollution caused by the farms. So the second thing I want to talk about is politics, okay? Because it's very easy for me to say, oh, just stop eating cod, it's endangered. What about the cod fishermen? What about the cod fisherman whose father was a cod fisherman, and his grandfather was, and his great-grandfather was, and it's a family tradition. And he's a fisherman, born and bred, and that's what he's going to do till the day he dies. That's all he knows. What about him? Well, as you can imagine, there is an intense pressure put on politicians from both sides, from the conservationists and from the fishermen. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, as I said, and so politicians will often go with where the money is. So I want to talk to you about the EU Common Fisheries Policy, and the reason I'm doing that is because the EU Common Fisheries Policy is the biggest fishing policy in the world, and it dominates a lot of decisions made globally regarding fish. So, the Common Fisheries Policy, its objective is the sustainable exploitation of living aquatic resources. Well, I'm sorry to say that it has absolutely 100% failed. Massive fail. Overcapacity. Okay, what do I mean by that? I mean more and more fishing boats with advanced technology. Don't forget, as these boats are being built, they've got amazing GPS technology. They can locate fish way more easily than they could 20 years ago. So they can locate the fish more easily and therefore catch even more fish than ever before. And there's so many boats because there's so much demand and people want jobs. Catch limits, absolute fail. People are supposed to be sticking to quotas, but unfortunately, as you will see, what happens unfortunately is if a fisherman exceeds his quota, he has no choice but to dump the excess fish back in the sea. And very often this excess fish is the prime cod haddock place that these quotas were put in place to protect. And so there's absolutely no reason to these quotas. It's madness. There are so many discards at sea. It's horrific. And finally, these harmful subsidies. For some EU countries, the money that the country and the EU has to pay to subsidize fishing is considered to be more than the actual money gained from fishing. And so these subsidies are pumped at these fishermen and these fisheries in order to keep them with jobs, but there's actually no economic sense to it. And again, if they catch over the limit, the excess fish is dumped dead back in the sea. And so that's the worst fail of all. Half of the fish caught in the North Sea is thrown back dead. Half. Okay, so imagine how much fish is caught. Half is thrown back. And I'm talking about cod and haddock and plaice. And all those fish that cost a fortune in any restaurant that you go to. And why do they cost a fortune? Because they're almost extinct. And that's why they cost so much. And some restaurants can't even source them anymore. So what can I do? I have a friend, and until recently, bluefin tuna was on the menu in a few restaurants in London. And it caused outrage. And most notably, Nobu, in restaurant in London, a very famous sushi and Japanese seafood restaurant, had bluefin tuna on the menu. And their rationale was, well, we're highlighting that it's endangered, but we'd still like people to make up their own mind. So I say to you, okay, do you think that's rational? I mean, what if I say to you, bluefin tuna is going to be extinct in 5 years' time, so why would I not eat as much of it as I possibly can until it's extinct? Well, I would say to you, my argument from the beginning, would you not like to try? Would you not like to try and have bluefin tuna still there when your kids are growing up? Would you not like to try and have your grandkids experience bluefin tuna? And I don't mean necessarily eat it, but I mean watch it jump and dive in the sea, and watch it on National Geographic. You just watch it, just enjoy the beauty of the fish. And so that it's not a fairy tale, it's not a story, it's not something that we're talking about that used to exist and is gone. An interesting fact as well is, in the UK, cod is the most popular fish. Cod is highly endangered. It's recommended that we don't eat cod at all because it's so highly endangered. It's at risk of becoming extinct within 10 years. But in every fish and chip shop in London you go to, cod and chips is the most popular thing on the menu. Now, it's very interesting because people say to me, I love my cod and chips, and I say, how do you know you're actually eating cod? Because in the race to source cod, many fish and chip shops will actually purchase cheaper, less fine quality fish called pangasius, and it's a horrible bottom-feeding fish. I don't know if any of you have ever tried it, but it's really nasty. And it's a very kind of cheap fish, and it's farmed in Asia, and it's really gross. It's disgusting. But what happens is they bread it up and they pass it off as cod, because number one, they can't source cod because it's practically extinct, and number two, they charge a fortune on it. And several fish and chip shops in London were closed down as a result of serving pangasius, trying to pass it off as cod. So, just avoid it. Just don't eat cod. I don't think it's that popular here, but if you come across it, just don't eat it. So, what can you do? Well, here's a list of 10 fish to avoid and 10 fish to eat. Now, this is from a European website, so I'm assuming some of you guys are not familiar, but here's the big cod one that I was telling you about. Atlantic salmon is also highly endangered. And so you're looking over this side and you're saying fish to eat. Ew, I don't like anchovies. Ew, herring. Ew, mussels. Ew, I don't even know what that is. Guys, it's time to be adventurous. It's time to take a step back from the comfort zone and try fish that you've never heard of. It's time to start buying fish that is not endangered. So, that is a Pick n Pay logo up there. So what about South African supermarkets? Well, I did a bit of research, and I'm very pleased to say that Pick n Pay are actively trying to sustain or to source sustainably sourced fish. And so I have this little blurb here. They've been working with the South African Sustainable Seafood Initiative from day one to ensure, that's that logo up there, to ensure that their seafood is sustainable. Okay, so they have the red, the amber, and the green. Green means great, go for it, eat as much of it as you want, it's fine. Orange. So why is Pick n Pay still selling orange listed lines? Well, it's saying at the moment there's not enough sustainably sourced seafood available for us to be able to only source it. So what they're saying is, it's not caught on as much out there. So a lot of the fishermen are still doing what they used to do, still using the same methods, still catching in the same ways. And so for Pick n Pay to source sustainable fish is quite hard. But things are changing, and Pick n Pay are aware of this, and they are, I consider them to be very transparent and very honest in what they're doing, and I applaud them for that. I'm not so impressed with Woolworths, actually, I have to say, because they have this kind of wishy-washy thing. Buy 2015 or wild-caught seafood will be sourced from fisheries that are undertaking a credible improvement project. Well, what does that actually mean? I mean, oh, we promise we'll be good in 5 years' time. Well, I'm not buying that actually. And also at the bottom here it says, we will at all times be transparent. For this reason, we publish the ratio of green to orange listed species. 62% of what we sell is green listed. Well, oh, that's not really good enough. I mean, that means 38% of what Woolworths sell right now is either orange or red listed. Like, why? Like, why is the percentage so low of this? I mean, from what I think, they should only, if they can source 62% of the green, why can't they source everything? Why don't they just chop the rest? They don't have any reasons why this is just what they say. So I'd like to find out more about this. I'm not so sure about Woolies now. I'm gonna have to think about this one. So, as I said, you guys, we're gonna have to start eating less fish, okay? If you're a vegetarian, great. If you don't like fish anyway, great. Okay? But if you go to a restaurant, it is worth asking. If the waiter doesn't know, then ask them to ask the chef will know where their fish came from and is it sustainable. If you keep asking every time you go and see that restaurant, then they will start to take notice. Okay, so we have these labels over here. Stop shark finning. You guys, you can all sign up to the petition. It's online. You can check out for these logos, and you can be more adventurous. I promise you, one little change that you make when you're just thinking about what fish you're gonna eat, it goes a long way. I promise you. I eat a lot less fish now than I used to, but I have a clean conscience, and I know that my children at least I can look them in the eye and I can say I tried. I really did try. I stopped eating tuna a long time ago. I haven't eaten cod in 10 years. And it's not me saying I'm great. It's just me being aware, because you cannot assume the fish that you're getting is sustainably sourced unless it says it on the logo. And so because it's been a very, very, very sort of serious presentation tonight, I thought I would end with a joke. And it's a very bad joke. So what do you call literary fish? Salman Rushdie. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Monday to come to the point. So your question is, how would you rate your life from a scale of 1 to 10? How would you rate your life if 1 is interesting?
I have a speech that I normally make that two things that make your life become, the two things that make your life a fulfillment. First of all, you got to give. You've got to give your time, you've got to give your services. Since I've joined Toastmasters, I've been able to give my time to other people. I've been able to speak in front of people. Guess what? Before I joined Toastmasters, I couldn't speak at all. I was stuttering. I could shake before I speak. Even I wasn't good at speaking at all. So at this point in time, I think I could give myself 8 out of 10 because I think I'm trying. But before that, I was somewhere at 1. Thank you.
I'm going to ask Bolani to come to the front. Tell us, what are the 3 positive character traits that you do not have and you wish you had? 3 positive ones.
3 positive character traits that I don't have. I don't have patience. I often become impatient at people taking too long, when things are obvious to me. Well, it might not be obvious to that person. I just get a little bit irritated, especially when the course is clear. Something needs to be done, let's get it done. So that's one aspect. dishonesty. But you're not supposed to interact with me. It's an impromptu speech. I can say whatever I want to say. To say positive.
Positive one.
Empathy. You know, I'd like to be more empathetic. You know, I'm a little bit, again, when I worked in corporate environment, they said I'm task orientated. I like to get things done, just as you just said, in the first part of the speech. So, empathy when it comes to relationships with people, especially in the work space. I'm working on that, but I still don't have enough of it. And thank you.
If you only had 6 months left to live, what would you do?
Good. As I said, I'm Nico, 6 months left to live. Being that I'm 50 plus and I'm senior, it's maybe a good thing. We often hear people say that you've got a wish list or a bucket list, and then a lot of the things that normally comes on the bucket list is the things that you wish that you would have done in your life. And if I had 6 months left to live, I would share more time with my family. I'm a family man. I've got 3 daughters. The one is overseas doing some schooling. I would spend more time with my daughters and share more of my experience with them. I would make things right in life that one maybe damaged relationships prior to the 6 months. I would go and visit each and every friend that I hurt in a way, and I'd make that right. I would share more of my experience that I've gained with in my business experience. Thank you very much.
Tell us about the worst boss you've ever had, or if you haven't had that, the worst employee or colleague you've ever encountered.
The worst boss I've ever had.
You don't have to call name.
I don't know him in any case. Okay, he recently left the company. So he was there when he started with us. Before he started being a boss, we were colleagues and friends. And then when he started, he had that attitude that he's a boss. He started changing. We used to chat to him as friends, but after that he was like, I'm a boss, you know, I'm going to tell you what to do. And after that, after that I wasn't relating well to him, and we were fighting a lot. And I used to actually tell him that, you know what, I don't like to be micromanaged. I think I know what I'm here to do, and I would like to get a bigger picture and be able to think for myself what needs to be done. Don't spend everything out to me. So he never actually took that seriously. He would just, you know, laugh and don't act on any serious discussions we have about it. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Tell us about the first thing you notice when you meet a new guy.
Okay.
First interesting thing you notice in a man when you meet a man. First interesting thing.
The most interesting thing that I notice in a man is he must have height.
Okay.
And then after the height, I would look at the facial features. The smile must be a beautiful smile. And something about him must resemble my father. If something about his character or the way he walks or the way he talks is like my dad, then I'll fall in love with him. And another thing that I look out for in a man is how he treats the woman, like opening the door for a woman, putting out a chair for the lady to sit. And then another thing that will appeal to me is how he talks about his family. A man that is very close to his siblings, his parents and relatives means that he's a good person that was brought up well.
Oh.